We are back discussing where to make money with AI in 2025. Actually, where to make millions, Nick.
Millions?
Millions. Let's get into it. Everyone is screaming about the AI gold rush, right? Everyone is talking about it. There's companies paying salaries over $100 million for employees. I think we're in a gold rush here, but let's talk about where to make money. And that might not be where you think it is, Nick.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
You're saying there are other opportunities?
There very much are. But let's take a look at where the market is at the moment and some statistics that might surprise a lot of people, right? So the global AI market is projected to reach $294 billion this year in 2025. But the projections for 2032, which is this on the red here on the right, is by 2032 it will be 1.7 trillion. So there is opportunity in AI. It is a gold rush, but it looks like it's going to be a gold rush for a while.
Wow.
So the market is real, and the potential for new wealth is immense, and we are still in the early stages of what can be made. And on top of that, the venture capital here, there's a lot of concentration in the venture funding. So in the first half of 2025 alone, AI startups secured $44 billion in venture funding, with a significant portion of the capital being concentrated in mega rounds. Mega rounds is going to be what's in green here, meaning some big companies just took down huge chunks. So competing directly with the biggest players is going to be pretty difficult because they're getting a lot of the funding. So the real opportunity is going to be in this other segment, this top segment here in the lighter for the 11 billion. That's where we think the opportunity is going to lie for people to be able to compete with it. But it's not that easy to be successful with AI. The other piece of information that came out recently is that there is a big gap with AI implementation. So why over 75% of businesses are using AI, this MIT study that came out recently found that 95% of enterprise AI projects are failing to deliver meaningful.
95%. So this is like pilot programs where a software company comes in and says, hey, let's run a pilot. We think we can improve such and such on customer service or on sales. Yep. And you're saying 95% of those are just, sorry, we're not going to move forward after the pilot.
That's right. So companies will do pilots with AI, and then they'll do a 6-month pilot or so on, and then measure the impacts of it. And a lot aren't working. You know, I think the strongest use case is the software development use case. And those are still doing well. You know, Microsoft Copilot has a lot of pilots out there that end up being successful. But
Cursor, Windsurf,
software development use cases. But when they are trying to implement AI in other parts of the business, specifically sales and marketing, they're having very hard times with the returns. So knowing that, okay, the market's huge and growing. There's a ton of funding still available, but you know, there's a lot of failures at AI projects that might cause some hesitation. Where are we going to look to make money? So, Nick, I'm going to kick it to you, and I'm going to ask you. You have a startup. You're in Y Combinator right now. What startups do you see in the AI space are getting funding?
Yeah. So we have a company called Avocado. It's in the restaurant space, and we fit into the category of a vertical AI company, meaning we've picked an industry, the restaurant space, and we're building AI tools for that space and hyper focusing on the problems and solutions that we can build for restaurants, right? And so there are all kinds of companies in AI because you need so much, but the ones that stand out the most really are the vertical AI companies. And these are companies that would have maybe gone after the same market segment that they would have before, accounting software or content creation, right? But now that we have this new tool, AI, you can take either a different approach or bring more value for a lower cost or much easier and much faster, right? I think a lot of people are kind of searching, where do you get into AI, or how can I build something with AI? And the answer to me is the same way you always could before. It's just it's a new tool available, right?
Yeah.
It's as if the steam engine was invented or electricity, right? Great companies always do the same thing. They provide a market with something they want, right? And bring more value than they're spending on money. The rules are the same for how you build a great company or how you make a lot of money. But it's just that you have a new tool. And when there is a new tool, this provides an unfair advantage to new companies because now they get to start from the beginning, assuming they have this tool. So now is probably the best time, maybe ever, to start a company.
Do you see these startups that are getting funding, like in Y Combinator that you're part of, or other places? Are they raising less money than previously because you can build tools more efficiently?
It's really funny. You're actually seeing a wider spectrum. You're seeing companies raising mega rounds, and you're seeing companies that are just quietly building and already profitable. So you can build so much more. There are a couple things going on. Because companies are maybe AI curious or looking for tools that are AI powered, your customers, there's a little bit of a market advantage that you can go after. You can find customers that are curious. And you can now use AI tools to build your company faster, right? Whether that's coding or understanding best practices on how you should approach the market. There are tons of companies that are saying, why would I go and fundraise? It's so unpleasant.
The fundraising is a huge time commitment from startups too.
It's so soul sucking.
It takes away your focus on building a really innovative product to trying to go, sell your vision to venture capitals. It takes away a lot of time and effort from product development.
It really does. From anything, from sales.
Yeah.
Right. It's a real cost. It's not just the equity you're giving up. It really is that those early cycles that you have in a company, it takes that away.
Interesting. So on that, which startups do you see in the AI space are getting sales, are actually having revenue and growth? What type are they? Are they vertical specialized? Are they niches? Like which startups do you see that are getting sales now in 2025?
I see a lot of vertical AI companies. For example, a lot of the voice AI companies are seeing a lot of growth, and for replacing calling centers, for replacing customer service by phone. That'll only last so long. This is kind of fits into the category of the first iteration of AI companies, which is like you look at what is most obvious to kind of pick off. And then go after that. Can you do the same thing you could before, but 10 times cheaper, right? Those are the ones that are getting sales. But there's this new wave of companies that are just building the same tools that we needed before, but they are AI native. And so that means they're either easier to build, they're easier to onboard someone, uses less training because you can speak to the software in plain English. This I find a lot more interesting. There's just so much opportunity out there. You can basically close your eyes and throw a dart at a successful company or market and build an AI native tool and have a lot of success.
It's funny you mentioned voice because I was just looking into a company that's having success right now in the AI space. This company with just a couple people as a part-time job built an AI-powered interview copilot that helps job seekers perform better in real time by listening to the interviews. So essentially, you do a mock interview with AI before you do the interview for the job. And this is a paid service, much like some of these AI resume services. So, there's a company out there that's already doing about half, I think it's close to $500,000 a year or projected to do $500,000 a year. And it's just a couple people part-time who built an AI voice model that helps people prep for interviews. They don't have to go through selling to businesses. It's a consumer product. It's a very quick and easy sell. I don't know the lifetime value of it, but a pretty easy startup idea with AI that's having immediate success, right? An AI voice.
What's the company?
I don't have the name. It's a real-time AI interview copilot. So a lot of opportunities still out there. You don't have to compete with the mega companies who are grabbing up all the funding. There's a lot of niches to be made. But there are some areas that AI is having a lot of trouble with. And that was this MIT study that we highlighted. So the 95% of AI projects that are failing, the harder use cases for AI are with sales and marketing.
Yes, I want to ask you about this because Peter, you've been in tech sales for years, had a ton of success, and so you have a unique or maybe less common view on how AI could or could not help with the sales funnel. Like what part of the process could it actually help, or could it really not? You need a human there.
It is. I mean, there is a human element to sales conversations, right? It requires empathy. It requires reading body language and understanding needs. And AI just doesn't pick up on a lot of these subtle social cues that a human might. So I'll give you an example, right? So oftentimes when you're selling, whether it be software or other products to individuals and companies who are evaluating the software purchase, they often have a hidden agenda that they won't communicate to you. So they might say, I'm looking for this software to do this, this, and this, or this product to do this. But what they're not telling you is that they're doing this to get a raise. They're doing this to advance their career in a certain way. And that's what you need to kind of align and understand with. And when you can do that, they can help you. When you don't do that, they might see you as a blocker, and they might not communicate to you that, you know what, this software actually might replace my job. It might make my job obsolete. And they might just run you through and waste your time. How an AI model is able to pick that up is going to be really hard, right? The decision-making process for buying, whether it be software, technology, or AI products, it's not a simple, clear, logical sequence that companies do. They're very inefficient evaluation processes out there. So it's hard for AI to take that and make sense of it. It oftentimes there's multiple stakeholders or differing requirements. There's company politics that play into the background of big purchases. So it's hard without a well-defined process for AI to come in and be a solution, because there's not the same requirements that it can for a software development use case. I think the other issue that a lot of the AI solutions in the sales and marketing space have is that there is a data issue. We don't have complete data sets in CRMs as salespeople. We do our best, but it's siloed, it's incomplete, and it leads to a lot of fragmented views of the whole customer journey. And without really complete and clean data, the AI can't really provide models that are that are reliable at all. So it's going to be hard for AI solutions to do that.
So let me turn that on its head then.
Okay.
What you just said is AI won't work because the data is not there in the CRM. What if we turn that on its head and it's like, well, maybe there's an opportunity for AI to backfill that data, right? And I'm not saying then it fixes the AI, which it may, right? But maybe there's an opportunity for a company that does that.
Certainly. So there are CRM data services, and you could use AI. I'm sure there's an AI use case to improve that. But that kind of gets into the point of, is that really influencing sales? So if you are doing a pilot as a company and you're measuring how AI is going to impact your lead generation, your sales, or so on, it's harder to measure in sales, because although it might improve, let's say, the data aspect or some of the communication or so on, there's so many other factors that affect a sale that it's hard for one of those to really move the needle. Although it incrementally improves it, I think by the pilot, it will still look at there wasn't a huge improvement there, and that the pilot will be seen as a failure. So those are going to be some of the challenges, and it's not just the challenges of implementing the AI solutions. There's challenges with selling AI solutions. So when I was a seller and I was selling AI solutions, oftentimes the business case for the AI solution is harder to provide. It's oftentimes what we call a soft benefit as opposed to a hard benefit.
Yeah.
Soft benefit is going to be improving productivity, where a hard benefit is going to be reducing costs, increasing revenue or reducing risk. And when you are increasing productivity, it's a harder sell, because you're saying, I'm going to increase the productivity of your sales and marketing people by 10%. And the company says, well, what's that going to do for us? Like 10%,
Yep.
It's harder it's not going to hit the bottom line. It's
Super mysterious. You're trusting that it will, right? Or you have to sit down and really think through it, which is too much, where you're basically giving them homework to go and figure out how is it actually going to improve productivity, rather than a hard value prop, which is you're going to save money or make more money.
That's right. You're going to be able to replace these solutions, or it's going to be so productive that you're going to be able to lay off 20% of your staff, and then you can make a harder business case for it. But there's always a lot of attention. A lot of customers request to see AI, request to get information, and then they go, "Oh, that's great," and you go, "Cool. Do you want to pay $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year, $500,000, $1 million a year for it?" And they go, "I don't think so."
I'm looking to get a raise, not get fired.
Yeah, they go, "Well, I don't know how we can justify it." And if you were just to think about the day-to-day ways of how you use AI, it is super impactful, right? Writing emails, research, communication, all this stuff's so impactful. But how do you quantify that in a way that can communicate, what it's worth and how it's going to either reduce costs, increase revenue, or reduce risk? It's not a cut and clear thing.
Interesting. So then one thing that if this is a case, and I do believe that's a case, one thing that's going to set up then is these incumbent companies that are deciding whether they should implement AI tools or not, and then they just can't get a real business case for it. That means they're not bringing in AI to improve their company. And then the companies that are trying to sell to them, they go back and they say, well, AI is not moving the needle for us, so let's just give up on it. Now you've got the incumbents on both sides that are kind of locked into an old way of business. That's a little bit dangerous for entire industries where now there are new young companies where they're saying, yes, of course I want to use the AI native tool. This is going to help us move faster, right? And now those companies are selling to other startups, right? And they're growing together. And eventually we're going to see these become behemoths that are going to take on the incumbents that are already there because they just couldn't find the way to implement AI properly.
Yeah, you're right. The smaller companies are going to have more success implementing AI solutions because they don't have all the complexity with the missing and incomplete data sets that larger companies do have. They'll be able to move faster, more agile, and they'll be able to really grow and scale their business a lot quicker with maybe not even having to hire as many people, right? So I think the 95% of the generative AI pilots that are failing within enterprises speaks to the difficulty of just changing any systems in the enterprises, in the large enterprises. Yeah.
And that's so different from how we choose software at Avocado, right? Like I'll look at something and I'll be like, this dashboard sucks. We're not using it. I don't look at the numbers. I don't look at any hard value props. This is like, I don't want to use this.
Because you're a small company, you can make those decisions.
Exactly.
You don't have to go through a 8 to 24 month enterprise evaluation, which is normal time frame to sell enterprise software AI solutions, 8 to 24 months. And you don't have to deal with a committee of 8 different people. You don't have to deal with security. You don't have to deal with legal and contract. There's a lot of things you can streamline to get through where not only you're going to be able to acquire the AI solution quicker, implement it more successfully, you're going to have like a year's head start on the enterprise that are still researching and evaluating it and 5 or 10 years away from really having it work. Like it's that slow in the enterprise. So the adoption curve for AI in the enterprise is lagging. I'm not surprised by 95% of generative AI pilots are failing. I think people are also probably trigger happy with AI. They were trying it on everything, kind of like they used to try with blockchain, and now there's a reality setting in that to be successful with AI, it's gonna be a larger implementation effort. So let's get into our 3 strategies for making millions with AI in 2025. So we did ask AI to compile some research on these headlines that have come out recently that we just mentioned, and then how would we go about making millions with AI in 2025? Here are the top 3 strategies. I'll take 1, you take 2, I'll take 3. How's that sound?
Let's do it.
Okay. First strategy is going to be to build an AI implementation and integration service. A services company is actually going to be a huge opportunity. This is consulting. This is where your companies will reach out to you to successfully implement AI so that they don't have a 95% failure rate for their AI. So you're not selling AI tools, you're not selling solutions, you're selling the expertise to make them work within organizations. So
these are companies that are like, hey, we're old and dumb. We need some of these young guns to come in here that are familiar with the AI tools, look at our processes, and just like tell us what to do. That's what this is?
That would be one way to describe it. Yeah. They could be old guys too, I suppose, but it might be younger people who have adopted the software more or some, but it would be, a B2B consultant saying, you know what, I have implemented these AI solutions that's going to streamline your whole accounting workflow, approval processes with the AI. And here's how I've done it at other companies. Here's how I'll do it at yours. Like complex solutions that they'd have trouble on their own doing, that there's good AI use cases for, perhaps.
So not off-the-shelf software, like a consultant basically needs to come in, look at their operations, and it's like, this is what I'd use. This is how I would change this process.
Yes. And probably with the stronger use cases, software development, administrative, customer support, accounting, those will be the use cases that are proven out and have maybe a stronger business case that just need the implementation success. Number 2, you mentioned earlier. I'll have you take number 2.
I love vertical AI companies, and we're going to start seeing a lot of this. And again, this is companies that are maybe building the same that is already in the marketplace, but they're building it AI native. And what that means is different for every industry, right? And it really should be. AI, it bugs me how it's just treated as like a big old brush that you put on top of a product and on top of your marketing, right? But when you sign up and say you're AI native, what you're saying is we're going to look for every opportunity we can to use LLMs and other AI tools to make our software much better than what was available before. And there are many of those opportunities. We're doing it at Avocado with the restaurant industry. We built an AI-powered point of sale, specifically a point of sale, because that's how restaurants operate. That is their business software, and everything goes through the point of sale. And it is so cool to see these like something as simple as onboarding their menu, how they're like, hey, my menu needs to look like this and this and this, and we also have these modifiers, and it's really complicated. Here's a link to our menu. This is like on an onboarding call. And then they're like, how long does it take? Like a week? And then on the call, I'm like, I just created your menu. And I'll show them the AI from their language that they just gave me, and everything implemented just the way they want. And then they say, well, I need this tweak and this tweak. And then I do it with the AI, and then it's done. Right?
There you go.
Something really specific with their workflow, which is almost like that's not something that's easy in the sales process to say like, hey, we do really fast onboarding because of this, because that's not on the top of their list, right? But these really specific workflows that can just be so much faster when you're properly using LLMs. And that's hard to know until you're like on the ground floor looking at the problems of your industry. So really bullish on vertical AI companies.
Love it. Love it. Third one here is going to be sell the shovels to the gold miners. So
yes,
don't build an AI model yourself and try and compete with, Meta or OpenAI, right? Be a business that provides essential tools, infrastructure, and services to those who are building the AIs more efficiently, right? Those when we showed the VC rounds of those mega companies who are raising money, that money is going to go through their business to vendors and suppliers to help them build, right? And if you are a supplier that provides services or model management platforms or other specialized AI training for employees, there's going to be a big need for you, and you can capitalize on that. So you don't need to build the AI model yourself. Sell the shovels, as you will, to the gold rush miners. So let's get you guys comment below. What is your plan to make money with AI in 2025? Let us know your strategy in the comments below. We'll do our best to respond and advise. Let's move on to our next topic. All right. And this one ties in really well, Nick. So how do founders split equity? And I want to ask you, you've founded multiple companies. You've had successful exits. What is your approach or philosophy on how founders split equity?
Okay. So I have kind of a different or unexpected approach. I think founders should always do an even split in equity. So if you have two founders, 50-50. If you have three, 33, right? And you could say, well, that doesn't quite match. We have one founder that has more experience or one founder that brings more to the table. My answer to that then is you should pick a different founder then. You actually, I think the best configuration are founders that are all kind of on the same level and bring the same amount to the table, whatever that is. And then people should also, I think too often people think building a company is like, bringing your skill set or what you've learned or your clients to this company, and that's the value you provide. That's not really what it is or what it should be. It's that you're signing up to be dedicated to this company and you're going down with the ship, right? And you're going to do that for years. There are going to be tough times. That's what a founder is. And if you don't want to do that, which most people shouldn't, because that's crazy and miserable, then you shouldn't start a company.
So let me ask you a scenario which I think is pretty common with startups.
Yeah.
Two people go to start a company. They do a 50-50 even split. One person's putting in 60, 70 hours a week. The other one's putting in 30, not doing the work, like they said, or just has other priorities or so on. What happens? Is it still a 50-50 split? How do you rectify that? Because I think resentment would build, right?
Oh, yeah. Okay. So first, the number one reason a company dies is they build something that people don't want.
Okay.
The number two reason is founder breakups, founder drama, right? And so if you're going to look at your company and think about risk, the second biggest thing, you better make sure that there's not an issue beforehand, that you're working with. Picking a co-founder is really important, as maybe picking a marriage partner, right?
It's a marriage in a way.
Yeah, it is. You end up spending more time with your co-founder than you do your spouse if things are going well, or you should, right? And so don't take it lightly. Also, at the same time, if things aren't going well, like, just have those conversations. They don't have to be tense, but things, that you should be really clear on expectations up front. It's really terrible when as soon as that resentment shows up, it's kind of the beginning of the end in a lot of cases. You really want to avoid it.
All right, you've heard it. Avoid it. He wants a 50-50 split. Avoid it. There's a lot of different approaches to how founders split equity, right? There is all types of approaches for this, but you're of the firm belief that, it's like a marriage. We're both in it. We both got to commit. And if that's not the case, then don't get married. Don't start a company.
Yep. There are a lot of opinions on it. Everyone's entitled to the wrong opinion. The right opinion is an even split.
Okay. Let us know in the comments, what do you think is the best way to split up founder equity? And let us know. All right, let's move on to our next segment. Our topic number 3, we're going to highlight some success stories in tech. These are entrepreneurs who made it big and the story behind it. And the success story we're talking about today is WordPress. Everyone loves WordPress, don't they, Nick?
WordPress, yes. Well, no, but I can't stand their design or the output of their websites, but it works quite well and it's extremely popular.
Extremely. So let me give you an analogy of just how popular and common it is, right? So think about the internet as a city, and all the different websites and apps are like buildings or skyscrapers or corner stores or art galleries. Now think that one company that built the foundation, the roads, and the plumbing for 40% of that city. And that's what WordPress is.
It's insane, their success.
That's how big of a footprint it is. But here's what's interesting. Their success, the story of their business, didn't start out of a boardroom. It wasn't a corporate vision that was executed. It was actually a discontinued passion project. So in 2003, a 19-year-old college student named Matt Mullenweg was a passionate blogger. Mullenweg. Yeah. So in 2003, 19-year-old college student, Matt Mullenweg, passionate blogger. He was using a open source platform called B2 Cafe Log. And it was his community. He posted to it all the time. And then without warning, the developers abandoned the project. And he thought to himself, you know what? Let's not let this passion project die. Him and a friend, Mike Little, had the idea to, what if we built our own version, a better version and they were going to start a company. And they were just two people starting from scratch there. It was their love for publishing. And what they did was genius. Okay, they had basically a decision to make the software free and open source. So they gave away the very thing that Mini was trying to sell, and they were generous, and they had this open freemium model. And it created an ecosystem of also 1,000 developers and designers that would build themes and plugins, and it created businesses on top of WordPress, and the community became a very self-sustaining engine for innovation. And while WordPress software itself was free, they built an entire empire around it, right? The company was called Automatic. That was a company they built around that, and it created the services, the ecosystems, right? The hosting, the professional support, the powerful e-commerce. They were providing the community services needed for companies to be successful online, and it was very lucrative. So Automatic, a company that gives away its core product, was most recently valued at $7.5 billion. And Matt, his precise net worth is unknown, but it's going to be probably in the hundreds of millions. And it wasn't made out of a grand corporate vision. It was just two guys saying, you know what, we like this product. Let's build a community behind it. So it's a lesson, right? You don't. It's a testament to the idea that like businesses isn't just what you sell. It's the ecosystem, the community you build around it, and it's serving a community so well that it can be a great asset. Super interesting.
I love this story of this being a model way of how to start a company. So many people kind of overthink it and they want to get it right and they overanalyze. This is a guy who was just really passionate. He wanted to build this for himself. He knew other people also wanted what he wanted, and he just went all in, just built it for years and years and years and years. Right? I can't see another company being really thoughtful about how they're going to, what should they build and what's the market approach. I can't see a company starting there and then taking over 40% of the internet, right? It's almost like it has to start in a way where it's from a passionate individual, right? I think that's a little bit missed when people are trying to start a company or trying to figure things out, right? That you really can just dig in and build things from passion, as long as it's not like, passionately playing your tuba in your bedroom. Like if it's something that's widely has potential to be widely needed or wanted, you can just kind of like dig in and build for years and build off of that.
Totally. So let us know, what are your passion projects, right? It doesn't necessarily need to be something that you think is going to be worth billions of dollars. In fact, it shouldn't be. You should be thinking about, what do you enjoy? What are you passionate about? Maybe it's online communication. Maybe it's golf. Maybe it's something like that. What are your passion projects? I think if you comment below and you start to think it through, there's probably a bigger audience there than you think. There's probably a lot of other people who share that same passion that could build a successful company or product around it, especially if you're giving value and providing free services. It's the opportunity to really build a community. So
yeah, please do share. Maybe I'll go in there and tell you whether I think it's great or it sucks. You should do the same, Peter.
There you go.
So many people are afraid to kind of say what they're passionate about because they're worried about, what their parents will say or their friends will say. And they don't realize that their passion for something is extremely valuable. So to make you nervous again about it, go in there and I'll tell you if I think it sucks or if it's great.
There you go. And look, we are passionate about business. We both have backgrounds in business. We are passionate about startups and entrepreneurs. So we are trying to build a community with this podcast. If you comment, if you were subscribed, and let us know, what do you like about the podcast? We are here to help. We're here to build a community, and we're giving away this podcast for free.
For free.
So that being said, like, comment, subscribe. See you next time.